I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York, but the rest of the country is revolting against it.
So we've told you a little bit about how radical Zoran Mamdani is, but we've only just scratched the surface. Mamdani wants to defund the police and instead replace them with gun violence interrupters, whatever that is. And then there's his wild take on capitalism.
Do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country.
It's clear he hates the wealthy. But if you're wealthy and white, he wants you to pay more. Mamdani's housing plan specifies that he wants to, quote, shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Here to discuss is Curtis Sliwa, the Republican candidate for New York City mayor and founder of the Guardian Angels. Thank you so much for being here today. So he is a full-blown, unabashed communist.
Communist, socialist, supporter of terrorist groups. But Cuomo spent millions of dollars tagging him that way, and it just strengthened him with his supporters. Don't be fooled. The wealthy, rich, white neighborhoods, look at the map. That's where the highly educated white Gen Zers, millennials live, and they'd be more than happy to pay more than their fair share. So just as you think that would be repulsive, they're cheering that. And if you were to say, but that's your neighborhood, the most affluent white neighborhoods, so we're more than happy to pay it.
So we went out on the street and talked to some voters, and I want you to listen to this clip real quick.
But he specifically said he wants to tax white people. Do you think he should be taxing people on their race?
I didn't hear him say that. I'm not going to believe that.
It's actually right here on his website.
Well, whiter neighborhoods. He didn't say white people. He should change that because you misunderstood it. I understand what he's talking about.
So I understand what he's talking about. Whiter neighborhoods, not white people. This is full-blown racism.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. But look, you want to win this war, you got to fight fire with fire. And President Trump was magnificent in this campaign against Biden-Harris. He went after the millennial, the Gen Zers, mostly males, and he got them away from them and to be voting for him. And that's why he had such a massive victory in the popular election and won the 7 battleground states. We're not doing that here in the city. Cuomo was vilifying these people. Right. Eric Adams now is vilifying these people. I don't. A lot of my supporters are in that age range. And what you have to do is embrace them and bring them over to your side. You have to say, you want to live in a city where all we lock up is toothpaste in the drugstores and we don't lock up criminals? Right. Because remember, I can go into neighborhoods as a Republican where the only Republican they ever saw was Abraham Lincoln on a $5 bill and be received. You must embrace these young people. You won't get all of them. Right. But you'll get enough of them to win the election. They are the majority now. I'm a baby boomer. I know we'd like to think we're still the majority of the voters, but so many of us have fled to Florida and Texas, and unfortunately, some of us have died.
Yeah, so obviously you've made a career out of defending, keeping the peace. And I think a lot of these voters don't realize what they're getting. We also talked to some other New Yorkers about his plan to defund the police.
I think that you have to have someone who's actually trained in defense and not someone who's there to make peace.
If you don't have law enforcement and common sense, you have anarchy. You must have law enforcement and law and order.
You need someone of authority, like a police officer, who they might respect more compared to a social worker.
I think they get it, even if maybe some of them voted for Mamdani.
Well, Zoran gets it because he's under threats. I get that. But notice he has off-duty New York City Police Department personnel with guns protecting him.
Exactly.
Now, I can speak to that. I'm the only candidate who actually was threatened and shot 5 times on the orders of Gotti Sr. to Gotti Jr. and the Gambino crime family. I don't travel with any security. And by the way, I'm where none of the candidates are, whether it's Adams, Cuomo, or Mamdani, the subways. And that's the melting pot of New York City, where you actually hear the blue-collar working class people who are the backbone of the city.
Yeah, no, you've truly walked the walk. We have to go, but I got just 15 seconds. Let me ask you this. Would you imagine possibly joining a ticket with Eric Adams if it was the only way to stop this guy from winning?
Absolutely, Eric. You have been the best nightlife mayor we've ever had. You party to the break of dawn. You can take over the shift at 12 midnight. I'll get a little bit of sleep, come back at it at 6. I'll be the mayor, and you, the swagger man, can be the nightlife mayor. How about that unity ticket?
That sounds like a 24/7 ticket.
That's all he's ever done as mayor.
All right, I take that as a yes.
Yes.
Curtis, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.